Welcome, hi everyone. Welcome in to the Accountancy In podcast. We're laughing because of something that was said, thankfully, before we press record. But welcome in. My name is Matt Lacey, and we are here. This is episode 54, and I'm joined as ever by my co-host Jamie Joyner.
Good evening, everyone. Good to be here.
Hi, Jamie, and Harry Sermon.
Hello. What's up?
Sup indeed, Harry.
Sup.
Yeah, I'm good, mate. How are you both? All right?
Well,
good.
yeah.
We're all good. We're all good. Thanks everyone who's joined us, and we'd just like to probably say thanks again to Mike Malone who joined us on the last episode. It was great to have Mike.
Awesome.
I think once we finished, we said goodbye to Mike. We realised there was probably like 3 or 4 other topics we might have wanted to cover with him. So we might end up doing a part 2 somewhere down the line. Who knows? But it's great that Mike was able to join us. So thanks for coming on board, Mike, for that. Anyway, this episode 54, just a quick reminder, this will be coming out on the day this comes out. I think it's the 2nd of May. We're recording this the week prior. And it will then come out on YouTube the week after that. So you can find us on YouTube as well. And you can also follow us on Instagram at Accountancy In Podcasts. So I've done all that at the beginning of the episode this week, guys. Instead of at the end. You see, that's good. Yeah, I'm like a professional broadcaster now and everything. But yeah, let's get stuck into... We've got a couple of little topics we're going to cover, I guess, tonight. But we tried to do a semi-regular feature on stuff that's new. So we got some new stuff floating about between us in one way, shape or another. So, Harry, do you want to kick off first? Because I think you've got a kind of finished new thing, if that makes sense. Yeah, go for it, mate.
Yeah, well, I kind of teased a while back about this 60s Gretsch round badge that I've been restoring, putting back together since I got it at the beginning of December. I think I teased it in a episode that just you and I did, Matt, when Jay was in China.
Yeah.
Oh wow, yeah. That was ago, wasn't it?
That was a while ago. And yeah, it's done. It's finished. I don't think I've showed it before yet. But for the YouTubers,
if there was ever a reason to follow us on YouTube,
there it is.
That.
And for the audio listeners, that's the snare wires there.
Oh yeah, in case we didn't know. Yeah.
But yeah, I'm going to turn the snares off and move it away from my microphone so it doesn't buzz.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a 14 by 5.5, 60s round badge, white marine pearl,
Nice.
Gretsch snare. I thought it was a Dixieland model, which I think were pre-60s.
Yeah.
But it's not. It's it doesn't have a stamp date, unlike my Ludwig acrylite. I think yours has got the same J. I don't know if your one or your dad's has one the same, Matt.
The
stamp.
The Supralite has. Yeah. 63.
Nice. Yeah. I think mine's a 67.
Yeah.
I can't remember.
But 68. Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't have that on it, which is a shame. But it does have like the classic Great Gretsch Sound shell guarantee for life sticker with a model number and all that sort of stuff. So
Cool.
If I wanted to, I probably could go back and sort of find, maybe the exact sort of rough timing. But yeah, it's I've used it a couple times. I've blown out the bottom head on it already, which has never happened. Well, I say I blew it out. I basically finished a gig and was like, I wasn't too sure on the tuning of it. It was an outdoor gig. It was a bit strange. So I was like, I'm going to tweak the bottom head a little bit, and then it just popped. But it was an old Rezo head from my Catalina snare.
I was going to ask actually, Harry,
old,
so it was just a shell when you got it, is that right? And you've had to find the lugs and the boxes.
So it was just I bought it as an empty shell, literally nothing else. I got that shipped, and then basically had to find all the other parts and kind of piece it back together. I thought that I could essentially buy Catalina new style stuff and fit it, but the whole pattern is like 2 mil wider and the holes are bigger. So I wasn't obviously going to start re-drilling this 60-year-old shell. There's a couple of small cracks across the wrap, nothing like major. It's a little bit faded. You wouldn't know with everything assembled, but it's a little bit faded. So yeah, I bought the snare throw off is all original. That was really hard to come by because it's like a really strange pattern. It's a really old bit of kit. It's a bit rickety.
Just show the snare throw up to the camera, buddy.
Yeah.
So I've not seen it. Yeah. Okay. For
okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
One of them.
Oh yeah, over center jobs. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Super sensitive. You might remember I was saying I was really struggling with the tension.
Yeah.
Just kind of getting any kind of snap when you engage it. So I basically just sort of really dropped the pin almost to the bottom. Really got a lot of tension on the thing, on the string, because it's not like a clasped one, it's a string one. And then just crank the screw up. So that was original. The lugs are original as well. The lugs are actually from the same seller that sold me the shell.
Right.
So he had like loads of stuff that was like loads of Ludwig stuff, loads of Gretsch stuff, all stripped, and you can kind of buy the individual parts and so on. I also got the internal muffler from the same person as well. We got them together. And then the tension rods and the hoops, I got die-cast hoops on it because that's what would have come with the drum. That was from a website called Drum Builder UK, which I believe is ran by Highwood Music, Chris at Highwood Music, which I think is maybe kind of near you, Matt, Midlandsy sort of area.
Well, the Midlands covers half the country.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah. Somewhere in the Midlands.
To us, it's just
Somewhere
like north.
Yeah.
It's just like above Gloucester to
yeah, exactly. It's like
anywhere
Gloucester,
above that.
Watford Gap, everything above that. Yeah.
Matt lives up there.
Matt lives up there with the snow on the hills.
Next to Liverpool and Scotland, in between, somewhere between there.
Yeah.
When we go to the drum show, I'm like, we're going up north today,
It's
guys.
a little bit
like,
too true.
To the Midlands. Yeah.
To the Midlands.
I mean, to be fair, people from the south say the same thing to me in Bristol, like, oh, you live well up north. And it's like, I'm barely halfway up the country, but sure.
It's an hour up the M5.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so really, really great, really, really affordable stuff. Like die-cast hoops, it was like £45 a side, which if you know die-cast hoops, they're normally like £75 a side.
And was there any kind of your thought process for going for die-cast? Is that because what would have been on it originally, I think you said? Or was it
just because
you
of what
wanted out of the drum specifically?
I mean, I've never had a drum with die-cast hoops. I've never really played, I don't think, a drum with die-cast hoops. So I was like, if that's what came on the drum, I might as well go with it. Yeah, I was tempted by the 302 hoops, like the single stick chopper ones.
Oh, yeah.
You'd get that more on modern Gretsch drums. So I kind of didn't necessarily feel like the right sort of thing to go with. But yeah, I mean, apart from that, it's pretty much all original. The tension rods as well, I got individually, which is really nice because you can order just like the exact amount instead of like buying a bag of like 6 or 8 or whatever, and you need however many for your drum. I'd literally just ordered the 16 that I needed, which was really, really nice. Cool. And I think they even chucked in a few spares, which was cool. So yeah, that was like super affordable. And then heads, I've actually just got, I've just put some spare heads on it. Now, I've got classic fit heads on my Catalina at the moment, which classic fit heads, a lot of people actually have DM'd me about this, so maybe I'll clear it up, but it's the one with like the different Remo logo, like the older sort of style. Yeah. Now, they used to, so the Vintage Ambassador used to have a different logo. So instead of like the normal Remo like crown, it was almost this like, sort of like curved badge on the Vintage Ambassadors. They don't do that anymore. The classic fit one is like the thinner, taller crown. Right. That is the vintage heads. So they're basically designed, they're wider collars, so they can basically allow for like drums that are sort of like out of round, a bit wider, not quite to the exact sort of scale.
Well, I think that's that kind of what they call, well, what I know a lot of old Premier owners, that's owners of old Premier kits, not old owners.
Sometimes both.
Yeah, sometimes it's the same thing. What they call pre-international. So
right.
So it's kind of not the standardized sizes, and you need to get a slightly bigger head to fit.
Exactly.
Okay.
So I personally, I've had a few over the years, and I've really, really liked them. Again, not on vintage drums, just on modern drums.
Yeah.
I don't think on modern drums it's necessarily noticeable. Like you wouldn't put it on and like the whole head just like completely collapse over the shell. But I feel like because you're getting more shell to head contact, the tuning is a bit more controlled.
Yeah.
So I love it on the toms. I've got
That's
it
cool.
on I've got it on my acrylite snare, and I've also got it on another snare. But yeah, these are just currently like an old hazy resonant head and an old ambassador, and it was really hard to get them on the shell. Like I had
Right.
to like push it in, and they are like solid without like there's no give on them at all.
Yeah.
So
Really?
I'm to be totally transparent, I'm actually struggling with the tuning of this thing a little bit. I had it tuned up before the gig where I broke the bottom head, and it sounded great, but the room we were in, when it was like an absolute cave, so I couldn't use it like that. So I put the big fat snare
Not the
on, and
most
it was
ideal
like
one.
fine. Yeah, and but now I feel like it feels better now that I've kind of sorted out the resonant head. But diecast tubes, I don't know if you'd agree, Jay, they've got a lot of top end resonance on them. Like I thought that they would sort of control the sound a lot more. I feel like it's a lot more livelier on this
It's
particular drum.
interesting. Yeah,
I don't know if you found
I
the
wouldn't
same.
say I've only got one other drum. It's my Starphonic 13 by 7, I think it is, or
Yeah.
6.5. And that's die-cast. And I've got an Evans HD Dry on that. So I think
right.
overall it's quite a
Sure.
kind of focused sound,
Yeah.
quite, kind of poppy. So yeah, for me, it's not got a lot of ring anyway. That's like a pretty dead
Okay.
sound.
Yeah.
But that's mostly the experience I've had with it, and once you sort of start chucking like dampening and stuff like that into the mix, like you kind of get where you want. But yeah, it's interesting. You've found it to be a little bit more ringy.
I don't know if it's because of the heads that I put on it. Perhaps there's not as much. Perhaps the hoop isn't doing as much sort of pressing as it should.
Yeah,
because the kind of head's already kind of seated in. But yeah, essentially, I want to get classic fit heads, top and bottom. I just basically I kind of got a bit impatient. I was like, I've got everything I need. I need to play the drum. I was going to put 42 strand wires, which I remember sending you guys. I bought that. And they're just so big, and I just couldn't get any sort of control out of them. So I put them on my Catalina snare, 6.5, and I've just got like an old set of 20s on it, and they sound really good. So
Yeah.
But yeah, the internal mufflers are great sound. Sorry,
those old 20s were probably more in line with what would have been on it.
Yeah, I imagine
Originally.
so. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But yeah, I've got a video that I'm slowly putting together on like the whole process. So whenever that's out, I'll mention it on the pod.
Yeah. And
I think I was maybe going to put something together on for us or something like that. And cool. Yeah, I've got like a few clips of me playing it, so that will probably come out in the coming weeks after this comes out. But
brilliant.
Yeah, sorry, there's like 10 minutes on
no, but it's
old piece of junk.
I love it. There's a lot of rabbit holes you can go down, isn't there, when you start talking snare components.
There's a load of people listening
come up
full on nerding out now, so that's all good. It's all allowed. This is the place for it. It's all good.
Yeah.
But no, I feel complete now. I feel like really happy with like that,
and
good. Just needed like a good like cracking wood snare, and it's kind of ticked the box for me. But it's exciting. Just got to get to know it a little bit,
Yeah, it's good. It's been interesting to listen to it with new heads on it, different heads, and see if those hoops make a difference as well. Yeah, cool.
It's interesting. I'll keep you updated.
Anything from you, Jay? New toy box?
Nothing quite as exciting as a new sort of reclaimed snare drum. But I have got I feel like I say this far too often. I've got a new cymbal.
You're in a safe space, Jay. It's fine.
I hope so. Please, no judgment. Put onto it by Harry, which is very kind of him, I'm gonna say.
Don't have me on Facebook. I'll just start sending you.
It's a common notification of Harry Sermon has tagged you in this post in the drummers buy, sell, and trade or whatever group. And I'm like, here we go. It's because he knows exactly what I like. But
Matt Kit the other day. Watch out.
Get them light rides being tagged. This was for a Crash of Doom. Which I'm very excited to now own. It came off the back of me just wanting a little bit of a different crash sound. I kind of got a new crash at the drum show, and I wanted a right-hand crash primarily, a bit of a different sound, a bit more explosive, and I was a little unsure because those that don't know about Crash of Dooms, if they have one, they'll know that they all sound a little bit different. They're not all. It's not one of those cymbals that you can guarantee that will sound great on your kit, or that you'll be able to predict what it's going to sound like. I've played on quite a few, and some of them I've loved, and some of them I've really not liked. So yeah, I was asking for clips and stuff. Had a listen, and the video I got back, I was like, oh yeah, it sounds pretty good. Like I kind of like that. It's got a bit of stick definition too. And then I went and like played it in person, and really liked it then. And I was like, I still wish I could have it on my kit so that I could know that. It still feels like a bit of a risk when you're buying sort of, when you're not in a drum shop and you can't sort of take cymbals down or anything like that. You kind of have to guess. And you're going off of like how well you know what your sound, like what your cymbals sound like. You know, I was kind of like playing the song, he'd sent me it in like Messenger, and I was sort of playing that and then scrolling over to my Instagram and like playing a few of my like my drum videos and just being like, can I see if that will sound good? And I thought it would. I really like the sound anyway, and he did me a good deal on it. And so I've not properly gigged with it yet. I've had a little jam out on it. I took my cymbals down to the teaching space and had a little jam there. It was super fun. Really liked it. No regrets at all. And I'm really hoping it sort of ticks the box that I was kind of wanting. I don't know if my search is completely done. I think it's a very unique sound, and in a good way. But I'll see. If I think once I've gigged it a couple of times and sort of get a really good feel for it, then I think I'll know. But yeah, I'm really pleased with it. It's a cool little addition, and it's just something a little bit different as well.
What's the diameter of that, Jay, to the uninitiated like me?
20 inches.
This is 20.
I think this the one I've got is a 20. I think you can get bigger ones. Can you?
You get 22 now. 22?
Yeah.
Can get 22.
Yeah. 20 felt like a good size. You know, I've that kind of sits in well with everything else I've got. One thing I did notice is like, I don't know if it's just the shape of the Crash of Doom in general, but like it just feels very sharp. Like all the edges are flat as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you don't angle it, like I put mine like where I normally get it, and I hit it once. I was like, brand new pair of sticks as well. I was like, that's instant, like, mark in my stick. And then just the more I played it, I was like, I'm chopping like brand new sticks on this one cymbal. And so I had to I went in and like adjusted to like the angle a little bit, just so that I wasn't like catching the edge. But I just found it quite. I don't know if that's the same with your one, Harry. But
I feel like mine is, when I think of like a cymbal, I think of it going like down almost like a little, like the bow, and then like rounded off, like the edges are rounded off. Whereas when I think of my Crash of Doom, I think of like a squiggly line, and then just like a right angle. It's like a square.
Square edge.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, it does feel like that.
If that's part of the design process, I really don't know. It kind of makes sense because they're pretty dry, so that would make sense with the sound just literally like dipping off. But yeah, they're like, I think yours and mine are kind of similar. I'd say yours is the only one I've heard that sounded as close to mine, if that makes sense. Not that mine's any special, but like I've heard quite a lot, and they all really, really sound different. I actually had two. I had one, got it, literally took it back from the shop I bought it on, played it. I had a rehearsal space at the time. A week later, played it again. I was like, there's a crack in this, and I played it once. So I took it back, and they just ended up swapping it for me. But that one was completely different to the one I've got now. Yeah, they're super cool cymbals.
Yeah, well, I mean, the guy that I was buying it off, he was like, I can't remember if he was sort of like just packing up drums and kind of moving into a different field and stuff, as often people are when they're selling all their cymbals and stuff. And he was showing me other ones he had, but he was just like, oh yeah, it wasn't the sound that I wanted, that he just wasn't for him, and I was like, yeah, okay, fair enough. Yeah, this sounded really good for me. So it was quite nice, to both just have this conversation and just be like, well, not really my cup of tea, but you'll like it, so here you go. So yeah, kind of, it's a nice experience when you're doing that with a cymbal. So yeah, cool. I don't think I was going to see if I've got it like in my little stack, but I think it's tucked away somewhere.
So it's where safe.
Yeah. Just quickly on the topic of cymbals, and I remember Matt, you mentioned the idea of like new hi-hats potentially at some point. Any sort of obviously I'm not. I'm sure you're not going to go. Oh, yeah, right here, or
Well,
whatever.
actually,
But,
as you happen,
yeah, they've just arrived from Amazon. No, any any sort of, because I know you're sort of like kind of unsure about where and what, and I know obviously you kind of to kind of match the Istanbul sort of setup, and
yeah.
any sort of update on that?
Honestly, the short answer is no, and I know you don't very often get a short answer from me. I know that, but yeah, it's
Short like a hi hat.
no, it's just like I think I'd like to go something 15 like for my jazz setup to match the Istanbuls, but we're a long way off. Yeah, I've not even actually, not consciously. It's not like I've not really been that desperate. So I've even started looking and shopping around, to be honest.
Sure.
I kind of daren't as well now you mention it, because it's that kind of money I haven't got lying about at the minute.
Yeah.
Or
crazy,
at all.
isn't it?
Hi hats are a really annoying like price point, because it's a big chunk of change. You know?
Yeah. And I know technically you could like, well, it's two cymbals, but for what they do on your setup,
it's
where they
one,
are,
it's one
just
purpose,
one
isn't
thing.
it? Whereas like you can at least buy a ride that kind of can be a crash as well, and stuff. You kind of feel like you're getting more.
Or buy two cymbals that you've got two things to hit, and you've got two sound sources, whereas the hi-hats are the hi-hats.
Even second hand are expensive. Like you're still looking at $350 probably minimum for a decent 15-inch set in good condition.
And it's and I play in the kit. The teaching kit I use on a Saturday is a pair of 15-inch Istanbul exists. Are they exist?
Nice.
Or they might be the traditionals. Actually, I'm not sure. And I'm kind of got used to them because I'm playing them every Saturday, and they've now become. Like it's one of those things like where is it? Do I like them, or am I just used to it? It's that weird thing. So they're not. They're great in that environment, but I'm not sure they're a bit heavy for what I'd want for my.
You should take your other rides down, your Mel Lewis and your other one, and have it, as a setup and
try them out.
Yeah, well, I'm thinking of because I've got to get my jazz chops up for maybe some stuff coming up. So I'm thinking of taking more stuff down to the teaching studio just to post teaching and just woodshed a bit with my stuff. But see, you still got a long answer, but no,
the answer we wanted.
Yeah. So no, nothing hi hat for me at the moment. No.
Okay. Anything else from you?
Anything else?
Little
nuggets of goodness.
Yeah, only. I kind of did allude to this on my Instagram feed the other day. That so as you may know, and what I'm going to do, I think, is I'm going to tee this up like Harry did with his snare drum 4 months ago, and then we're going to come back to it in 4 months. But
Christmas will be the
Christmas,
big reveal.
Perfect. Yeah, that would be perfect time. So I've been running a practice diary, which I've been running now for I started it exactly. I'll start again. I know exactly when I started it. It was the 10th of October, 2023. I did a reel about it at a year, 2024, and I'm still running it. And I've actually just finished that book. And in the meantime, I've been looking for something else, which is a bit more drummer specific rather than just using a notebook. And so I've been pulling together my, I thought, well, I can't find anything that's really, there's lots of practice books out there for other instruments or people playing piano or violin, cello, blah, blah, blah. But I couldn't find anything drummer specific. So I've started to design my own notebook, my own
cool.
practice tool, if you like, for helping me chart and track everything that I practice and tempos and notation. And the draft, if you like, prototype copies have come back from the printers today. So I've literally got home and opened them out. Yeah. So we'll leave it there. I'm not going to do the big sell thing, but I've still got some things to work on, and we'll maybe reveal more either on this or on my other Instagram at some point in the future. But
much to look forward to.
Much to look forward to. Much practicing to log, etc. So, so that's new stuff. I think that's all about new stuff. New. So, I know. Actually, one of the new thing that I think, it's not a thing. It's an experience. You guys, I've seen this week.
It was an experience.
It was an experience. Went to see a certain Mr. Greb
Oh yeah.
playing drums and stuff. And forgive me, because he was new to me. There was the other guy who was the support drummer on that. I put you both on the spot now.
Tom McConnelly.
Tom Connolly, yeah. No, I didn't know of him, but I've looked now, kind of started following him, and he can play the drums.
That he can.
Very good.
He can play the drums. He's very good at the drums. So fair play. But I wasn't there. wasn't near me. I couldn't get to one of them. Funnily enough, a lot of these masterclasses or clinics never happen in the Midlands, Harry. They're never in the Midlands. They're never in the middle of the Midlands. It's up the north of the Midlands, or the south of the Midlands. But tell us about the evening, gents. How was it?
Yeah, go for it, Joe. You tell everyone about how good it was.
It's great. Like, I think, like, just as you guys know, and as a lot of our listeners will know, there's something super special about getting in a room with loads and loads of drummers, and quite often it's that time where you get to just catch up with someone that you haven't seen since the last drum event and so on. So that was really nice. You could just tell everyone was super excited. But yeah, we it was a drum depot in Cardiff, and Tom opened up, did some sort of mind-melting time signature polyrhythm stuff. He did a thing where he put his click through the speakers, what he was hearing in his ear, we got to hear that, and he was like, oh yeah, you just count it like this, and he'd go off and everyone's like, oh yeah. Yeah, it was crazy, but really cool. I think some people managed to follow him along, and he explained it all really well. And yeah, phenomenal player, great sound, lovely guy. So yeah, he opened up, and then obviously we had Benny, who like, you can just imagine what that's like. I'm sure people who've seen him play know what you're in for. But he did, like, I think probably my favorite bit. I love hearing him speak, because I just think he's just such a great communicator, educator. Like, he knows so much, and he's hilarious, and so can communicate in such a really brilliant way. But he had, like, an extended drum solo, and he was just like, yeah, I'm gonna do it because I can. In that, you're in a room full of drummers who will happily sit and watch him for like 15 plus minutes he just plays. And yeah, like, he was very Benny, just going all out. You could just see his mind working. That's what I loved about watching it, is you could see him, like, land on an idea and be like, oh, I'm going to do something with that. And then he'll kind of, like, build on it or change it, or, he'll just stumble across a sound, and suddenly it's like, yeah, he'll turn that into something even more cool. So yeah, it was amazing to watch. And obviously, speaking of his sound, like, that was, like, next level. Incredible. Like, his little, like, 10-inch rack tom, huge, like, thunderous 16-inch floor tom. Cymbals all sounded great. He had all his new stuff, and obviously Drum Depot kind of had all that sort of stuff out for people to try and whatever as well, so you could try the new Sand Ride and everything like that. Yeah, like, some really great questions, a lot of stuff on practice, which is always I think probably quite common. I think when you're at a drum clinic, there's a lot of practice questions, but yeah, I think it was all, like, really good stuff. And he also did a really cool, like, mashup thing, which I'll let Harry tell you about, because I think Harry really enjoyed the that
was probably the highlight of the thing. It's funny you say about the questions though. Like, I feel like a lot of drum things like that, sometimes the questions are, like, really not very good. Do you know what I mean? Like, when you go to, like, a drum thing like that, where it's just like, how do you practice? Just like, come on, like, you've got these amazing drummers, and you're like, what shoes do you wear? Like, you just,
what sticks have you?
Come on, yeah. What sticks do you use? Yeah. Oh my god. But, like, all the questions were, like, generally, like, really, really good. Yeah. I wrote down when I got home I've got this little, like, Moleskine notebook. Moleskin's the brand, isn't it? I think.
Yeah, cool.
Like, tiny little, I don't know, whatever, it'd be like A15 or whatever, tiny.
It's a stamp, isn't it?
Yes. It's a flip book, little flip book. And I just wrote,
very
because
small.
he talked about soloing. Yeah, good questions. He talked about soloing and did a thing of, like, doing a phrase and then repeating it Like,
Yeah, I love
when
that.
you talked about soloing, like you just kind of forget everything that you do, and you're just always trying to go on to the next idea. He was talking about like do something, then do it again, and then move on. So I wrote that down, and then I just wrote singles and doubles every day, because he just talked about, like, he actually did get asked what he practiced or what he's practicing at the moment, and he was just like singles and doubles every day for like 5 minutes, and I was just like, yeah, makes sense, really. Like that covers all bases, you know.
It's so sorry to interrupt, but it's interesting you say about that kind of play an idea, stick on it, repeat it. Because ironically, I feel sometimes that I do get stuck in an idea or a motif and I don't move on quick enough, or I think I'm stuck on something because maybe my vocabulary won't let me move on. So it's interesting that that's my perception of my playing and where I feel I am. But Benny's like, well, no, stick with it and play with it.
I think he was more coming at it from the point of view of like, if you can play something, it's like playing a solo and then someone asking you like, what did you play? You'd be like, well, I don't know. I just played. You know, I wouldn't be able to play it again if you asked me to play it, because it was just what was happening in the moment. And I think what Benny's point was like, be intentional about it. Like play a bar and then try and play that exact same bar again, just the way that you played it. You know, that's the challenge there. So you actually kind of almost like, I guess, reverse engineering it, or like really thinking about what you're playing rather than just splurging stuff.
Because I also wrote as well, like, I think on that, as a perhaps like an expansion of that, you could be like, repeat yourself, but then on the last maybe half of the bar is where you change it, and that is kind of like your launch pad to the next bit.
Okay.
But I it was really kind of like super simple, and I don't think he even, like, he did a good little demonstration of it, but he didn't kind of linger on it too long, which I think had more impact of being like,
just gems.
Just do that.
He said another thing was like omitting stuff, like setting up an expectation. Like if you repeat something, you've established a pattern, and you've then got control, because people expect you to play it again, but you can choose not to. And so, you know, he would play like a rhythm twice, and then on the third time he'd just choose not to, and then he'd come back, and everyone's like so there on the journey, because even just a little tiny phrase, no matter how simple, is so predictable. Everyone's ear is expecting to hear it again, but he's like purposely choosing not to. And really clever little gems like that. So that was great.
Cool. But the mashup thing as well. So basically, I mean, for a drum clinic thing, he did like lots of little things like that, but there wasn't a lot of like drumming. Like he did the brass band thing at the beginning, not to kind of talk about the whole clinic and so on, but did the brass band thing. He did the mashup, and then he did like the Buddy Rich stuff and the solo.
He did solo,
That was kind of it, you know. I mean, the solo was probably like 15 minutes long, but this mashup thing. Again, if you were there, you probably knew. If you saw him at any of the spots, you might know. But I don't want to kind of give away the sort of whole clinic. But essentially, what he did was he got asked the question of like, you play so much music, so much varied music. How do you kind of do it? Essentially, like how can you kind of put and wear so many hats? And he thought it was like, it would be a good thing to kind of talk about and explain. So he basically just took chunks of his favorite songs and just put them all together in a Logic file, like his favorite bits of all the songs, and put them together in a Logic file and just played through it. And then he was kind of like, none of these like transition points make any sense. Like this is almost like he's done a bad job of it. And then he was like, oh well. So just basically played through it as is. So like he did like the intro of Ghostbusters, and then went straight into like Give It Away by the Chili Peppers. And then we'd do like Paperback Writer, Beatles. I think he actually posted a clip of If I Ever Lose My Faith in You by Sting.
Yes, he did.
Which was amazing to see that, by the way. Him play that was super cool. One of my favourite tunes.
Yeah.
And just like loads of stuff. There was some Animals as Leaders in there. There was so much. There was a bit of like Take 5 you kind of sat in and out of a little bit.
Yeah.
It was so cool. Not only to like see Benny play all these amazing songs, but just to like hear that idea of like, these are just all my favourite tunes, and I'm just going to play my favourite bits of them.
Wow, cool,
like nothing else to it. He didn't like shred and chop over it. He played the parts.
Yeah. And he literally would stop and start the next part. Like, you know, it was just, but it was still great, you know.
It was
really,
fantastic.
really cool.
It was such a good, I remember saying to you at the end, I was like, that is one of the best ideas ever.
Yeah. Great.
Good. It was amazing.
And it was at Drum Depot.
Depot.
And where was that? Where was that specifically? Where is that?
That's in Cardiff.
It is Cardiff. Okay. I don't know whether it was Wales or Drumder, which is near you,
it's in Wales. Yeah, I mean it's like the opposite side of Cardiff to me. But yeah, it's my closest sort of local drum place.
So on the topic of drum shops, we should probably let's just mention quickly. We found out this week that Drummers On has shut its doors and its website, which is rubbish. We wish them all well because we spoke to those guys a few times at the drum show, and they also came up, didn't they, to the Odyssey Camp one year. So that's pretty poor. That not on their behalf, but just rubbish that.
How dare they?
No, terrible. It's just rubbish. It's another drum shop, albeit it was quite a big place. I know it was appointment only, but it's a drum shop gone. Yeah. And I think we had a DM in the week, guys, didn't we? I think, Harry, did you mention, was it GAC that had gone?
Yeah, so I think Bax Music and GAC went 2 weeks before.
Yeah.
I think there was some speculation that GAC had just closed for a refurb. But they haven't opened since. I haven't checked the website. I don't know if they're still trading online.
Right.
But yeah, like GAC is like a big, I mean, obviously for the UK, it's a big website wise, but it was like a massive shop, sort of that side of the country, you know, Brighton and so on. I don't know where the Bax Music shop was, if they had an actual shop,
don't.
but
it wasn't
I bought
Midlands.
some stuff from, which could be anywhere. But yeah, I mean, just quickly on Drummers On, like I bought a cymbal from Dan a couple of years ago, and we literally, I called him because I was gonna I wanted to trade something in and kind of swap it out, and we literally had like a nearly 2-hour conversation on like cymbals and companies and, you know, what the brands kind of get you to do when you sign on with it, like. And Dan just had like all the time in the world to have this conversation with me, not only about where he got the cymbal from and the cymbal itself and the cymbal I was trying to flog off to him, and he was like, you should do this instead, and we just had a great conversation. And yeah, it was nice to see him at the drum show last year. Both years, I think. I remember going up to him and just sort of saying like, I love the cymbal I bought from you, I loved our conversation, blah blah blah. And I know that and I think we kind of talked about like maybe elsewhere, but he seems like a super passionate person about the whole thing, and you know, put so much effort into like the way the website looked and all the content and so on. And it sucks. It sucks that they're you know,
I mean, I think let's be honest, I don't think we're going to start a petition necessarily. I don't think we're going to start waving flags on the roofs, but for me, I mean, so I've had to buy a couple of things online, but what I've chosen to do is I've used Graham Russell. So I've bought online when I've not been able to get what I want at a local shop. I bought online from a bricks and mortar shop that also sells online. And, you know, not wanting to get on the soapbox, but I think we probably really, you know, people out there, I would ask, please consider using a bricks and mortar drum shop first before you start finding stuff on other online sites. You know, who am I to tell people what to do? But we really have to keep hold of this, you know, these bricks and mortar shops that we get the opportunity to go and look at shiny stuff and try it and play it and talk to people like Dan who are super passionate. And we've had Ed on here from the Isle of Man. Now, you know, obviously he's not an out on. He has got a shop. He's got a great shop, but he uses his teaching space as well, obviously. But yeah, just use these people that are passionate about the instruments we play in the nicest way, in terms of go and talk to them, befriend them, get on with them, and you'll get great advice and you'll get the right stuff that you need, whether you knew it was the thing you needed or not. It will be the stuff that you get pointed in the right direction. But we've got to try and stem the kind of tidal wave of just shops going under because they're not getting the support. I know things are very difficult at the minute, and people, you know, the bottom line everyone's got to play with, both in business terms, but personally, you know, what money we've got to spend is a big draw. I know that, but once these places go, they won't come back. So we've really got to kind of, sorry to get soapboxy about it, guys, but I feel really important. Because I remember as a 15-year-old, 16-year-old, you know, the highlight of my week was going to the drum shop.
Key memories, I think, for everyone, certainly in our generation. Like, I think that nothing beats that experience of walking into a physical shop and being like, I want to buy my first drum cymbal,
Yeah.
or drum kit or whatever it is.
Yeah.
That I think that kind of sticks with every drummer.
Yeah.
So
I remember going in because my dad played and like he needed an extra, or to see if they've got any kind of second-hand, like I just want a cheapish cymbal stand. He's not precious about it matching, which I am, but he's not. And he'd be like, oh yeah, I've got that. Oh, okay. And then they've got a different 16-inch cymbal. And, just having that opportunity to browse.
Yeah.
And you couldn't imagine that, thinking of browsing. You couldn't imagine that if all bookshops disappeared and were only online.
Yeah.
Imagine the experience of going to a bookshop and looking
The
through
smell
books.
of a bookshop.
Yeah. It's the same thing for drums, isn't it? And cymbals and hardware and percussion and having, they've got these brackets on. Oh, I need one of those brackets because I want to put a cowbell here, or
seeing like the new kits, like the stuff, like the expensive stuff that people play, on the telly or whatever. And you're like, wow, that's like a real,
go see it.
That's an expensive bit of kit. Seeing it and seeing a big cymbal or whatever cymbal for the first time. I remember going in there and going into a local shop and seeing Chad Smith's Holy China in there. And I was like, wow, that's the thing that Chad Smith plays. That is super cool, Even like picking up sticks, like not to get like super nerdy, but like it might be the same model of stick, but it will weigh different and it will feel different. And I just, even like we did at Drum Depot, didn't we, Jay? Like literally picking up a few pairs and being like, oh, this one's a bit heavy and so on.
Yeah.
I think, it is.
Well, I mean,
huge.
On that point, I always used to go to a drum shop to buy my drumsticks, but I can't get the ones I want near now because of the change in distribution.
Yeah.
So I've had to now buy. I bought 6 pairs and got a bit of discount.
We'll forgive you.
Thank you.
Yeah. It is what it is.
Yeah. No, it's not the
Veta
brand.
for life.
Yeah. I'm anti-Zildjian, anti-Veta. No, I'm not anti-Veta. And I've had to buy them online without going how comparing the weights, and it's kind of that's sad, unfortunate rather than sad that I've had to do that. But
I think also as well, like sometimes not to be, I guess, too transparent, but sometimes those places are a little bit more expensive. But I think like maybe just think about where that extra money is going to go. Like that, like you said, Matt, you bought 6 pairs of sticks. That's a big price.
And a head. Yeah.
And a drum head as well. Like that's going to help that store. If everyone did that, we wouldn't be in the same situation. But that those 3 pairs of sticks that you might buy, or whatever it is, a new snare head on other websites, sadly, is the money's probably going to go in maybe the not best direction.
And the end of drum shops is not only the end of you having like this personalized, like people checking in and just, how are you getting on with this head that you were trying? Oh yeah, I'm not really sure. Like I'm thinking of trying something. Oh yeah, I can recommend this. Like you don't get that, obviously, but you're also saying no to clinics and all these other wonderful things. When Benny comes to the UK and does a clinic tour, like they're hosted in drum shops around the country, and if we're not supporting that, then those things don't happen either. And those are another thing of memorable experiences that every drummer has, meeting other drummers, meeting their heroes and whatever, is done in a drum shop quite often.
My first lessons were in a drum shop.
Yeah,
there was two rooms upstairs, proper grotty kids, but nevertheless, and the guy would sit there with the roll up while I was playing.
Nice.
And now this will date me,
Sounds
but
about right.
Yeah. How much was an hour's drum lesson when I had lessons to start with? I'll tell you how much. £4.
Whoa. I was going to say a fiver. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
That would cut what 5 minutes now? 10 minutes? 15 minutes?
It's like 5
Depending on your charging.
But yeah, anyway, that aside, quite right, Jay. It's not just the stuff where people buy stuff. It's a venue and it's a meeting place, and as Dan alluded, we talked to Dan at the Q&A when he was at Odyssey Camp. It's you are paying that little bit extra, but you're getting a service.
Yeah,
and that's
like at a restaurant, a service charge.
Yeah. Would you want? Oh well, I mean, other than I think Nando's, but let's say we knocked 20 quid off your bill, but you have to go and get your own food from the kitchen.
Yeah,
it's
not the way.
It's not the way, is it? So yeah. A short 10-minute section, soapbox section on we must support drum shops, everyone.
Please do.
And if you need to buy online, but buy online from a bricks and mortar place, because they
Any
really
shout outs, like who else we use, like who is the place that you normally use, Matt, your local?
So yeah, Rattle and Drum at Derby,
Yeah,
which is in the Midlands. Rattle and Drum, and I've used
Great.
Graham Russell because I got to know them a little bit at the drum show, and I think they're great people, and I've used them. I also bought my Catalina online from, is it the Drum Shop, Newcastle Way? It's the orange and black badge. I had a great conversation with someone on the phone. He sorted me out with the cases for it as well, and he did a great price on it. And and that was all from, I saw that in an Instagram post. I went, oh, I'm going to ring up about that. And then I struck up a great conversation with a guy. So there's 3. I used this Drum Shack as well.
Drum Shack,
that's a good one.
They're good.
If any guys, you've got Drum Depot.
Drum Depot for me, I used to be. Another one that unfortunately closed their doors was Wembley Drum Centre. They closed a little while ago. But yeah, back when I lived on the edge of London, like I remember when I was sort of 18 and like I got a crack in my 18-inch cymbal that I bought from them, I would trek across London, took like an hour and a half to just get the tube to the other side, give them my cymbal. They go, great, we'll have your new one in a couple of days or something. I can't remember. Yeah, I had to or they were fixing it. I can't remember. I had to come back. So I went home and came back in again, got the cymbal and went back. And it was just, they took care of me, but that was what you did. You would go to the drum shop and try it out. And I was like, I'd rather go to Wembley than just sort of buy this online. So yeah, I used to do that at Wembley. And then obviously now I'm mostly Drum Depot. Yeah, pretty much through and through. Cool. Unless they haven't got what I need and I need it super, super urgent. That's where I'm getting it from, So.
Is there any you think of, Harry?
There's a it's more of a guitar, dare I mention, than the others. It's more of a guitar piano place in Bristol called Mickleborough, but they do have a lot of sticks and heads. They don't really have a kit and cymbal selection, but every time I've gone in, they've got loads of great Veta stuff and loads of great Remo stuff. So,
but nevertheless, a bricks and mortar music shop.
Exactly. Yeah, it's been there for a long time. Yeah. And I'd rather again I mean, let's be real. You spend that extra couple of quid per product. That's what you're paying for the delivery. You might be able to get it tomorrow, but you can have it right now for a few extra pounds. What's the difference? So they're really good. There's another local. I don't think it's a shop as such. I could be wrong. Maybe it's a shop / teaching space. A guy called George Pace. He has a business called Drum and Pace. I think I'm pronouncing that right. He used to work at again, sadly gone, Bristol shop called Drum Bank, and he's got his own business there. I know that he does Veta and Remo and Evans and all that sort of stuff. So I'm gonna, when I run out of Veta sticks soon, because I'm still nursing that brick that I've had for nearly 18 months. That's where I'm going. That's where I'm getting my next batch from. But yeah, those. That's the closest to me.
Cool, man. Good.
Yeah. Places. Drum shops. Use them.
Drum shops. Use them. Full stop.
Yeah. And it'd be great as well if you got any listeners that want to share or flag up or promote their local drum shops or make us aware. I'd love to see some more names because we've talked about a few, but I'd love to hear where other people are buying their gear from and kind of the local shops that they're supporting. Because we all got to make people aware of the drum suppliers near us. So we'd love to hear that.
No, definitely,
100%.
Well, and we'll tag them and put them in a post, and we'll get them out there. Definitely, yeah. Cool. Right. Well, we've gone on for nearly 49 minutes, guys.
Yeah. Let's skip the main topic thing.
I was going to say, shall we? I think we should save our main topic as a dedicated episode, perhaps. And
I think you're probably right. I think this is the drum shops episode now. This is new stuff in drum shops.
Cool.
And clinics.
Time.
So because we want to give the main topic its full attention, and we don't want to skim it in 10 minutes, 15 minutes. And you, the listeners, we don't want to keep you hanging on for another half an hour. Bless you. You've been with us for 49 minutes already. So we I think we should wrap up there, guys, if
Yeah.
that's if so good. So
Yeah.
in recap, buy new stuff from a drum shop,
From a
go
drum shop.
to a clinic, and get out there and
I've realised that both what me and Jay talked about as a new item were not bought from drum shops.
Yeah, I was
They were
literally
just
just
bought
thinking
from
that.
other people.
Mine's
But
it's secondhand.
You're keeping gear in the
you're still
system
from the
without it
60s,
going
Harry,
to
you
the
know.
tip. Yeah,
Yeah, mine's 60 years
Yeah,
old, but same thing.
Yeah, Trump's most
it's
things. I think.
you know.
It's still around,
That's still allowed because you're buying off people, and people are going to take that money and buy it and spend it in a drum shop. There you go.
Yes.
You see,
There we are.
circle of life
yeah.
and all that.
I'll DM the guy on eBay and be like, I hope you spent my money in a drum shop.
Yeah, too right. Yeah. So a slightly more I can't say that word. Varying episode this week, but it was always good to catch up on that, and I think it's important stuff we talked about. So, quick recap. Yeah, please follow us on Instagram at Count Us In Podcast. If you would like to support this podcast and you think like what we're doing and what we're talking about, and you found any of it useful, unlikely tonight, I know, but you can support us by buying us a coffee at buymecoffee.com/Count Us In Podcast, or even better, rather than send us £3 this week, why don't you invest it at a drum shop?
Absolutely.
There you go.
Yeah, send them £3 instead.
Send them £3.
Yeah.
The drum shop pot.
Yeah, just buy us one coffee each and spend 3 coffees worth on a pair of sticks in the drum shop. Do that.
Yeah.
We didn't mention drum bass on the Isle
Drum
of Man.
bass, Ed your man.
Yes. We mentioned Ed. We didn't mention shop.
Yeah, or I'm going to go to Ed for Veta stuff. Sorry,
Yes,
I did say I would use you as well.
Yeah.
Split
But
my
yeah,
order.
this episode will be out in a week or two, and then the following week when it's out on the podcast platform you listen on, it will then be on YouTube. So you can follow us on YouTube, find us there. We'll put links in our Instagram link tree and stuff. But yeah, guys, we'll leave it there. I think that's everything
awesome.
covered.
Great stuff.
Old new
Wicked.
snares, new old cymbals.
New book at
New
Christmas.
book, drum shops, Benny Greb, done it all, completed it.
Bosh.
Nice. There we are.
Cheers, guys. Have a good
Nice
evening.
one.
Take care,
Yeah,
everyone.
nice one,
Thanks
guys.
for listening.
Catch you soon. Bye.